Hello everyone, I'm really excited to show you my new Bow Silver Love Heart bracelet. I've designed this in time for Valentine's Day, but of course you could make this at any time of the year. It's made using silver tinfoil tape, which is sticky on one side, and some white card. This is the silver tinfoil tape that I use. I will try and find a source that I can put on my blog so that you know where you can get some from. It's sticky on one side and it has wax paper on the other side. So you need to cut yourself a length of this, depending on how many beads you want to make. The card is ordinary white A4 card, and I've cut this up into strips, and I think my strips are around about 3/8 of an inch wide and just around about 3 inches long. So you take your tinfoil tape and peel the backing off. Hang on to the backing because we're going to use that later on for sticking scraps of tinfoil too, so they don't stick all over your hands. So you take your strips of card and stick them firmly down to the sticky back of the tinfoil. Just push them down firmly. And here's mine. I made enough to make one bracelet and to have some beads left over. Now the next thing you're going to do is cut them out. Now it can be quite difficult to cut this sticky back foil with scissors. As you can see here, it just sticks to the scissors and it's awful to use. So I have a little trick that I use. As you can see, these blades can get quite sticky. So what I do, I get vegetable oil, olive oil, whatever you have, on a piece of kitchen paper, and I put a very light coating on the scissors, and you can see here, cut really easily. So your next job is to cut each of these strips out individually. So you need to leave a margin on the long side because we're going to turn that over and stick it down, but on the short ends cut close to the card. So see there. Okay, so the aim here is to cover each piece of card with a piece of tin foil and leave enough down the long sides to turn it over and stick it firmly down, but you don't need to worry about sticking it over the ends. Now these small pieces that you're cutting off, put them down on the wax paper because we're going to use them later on. So now I'm taking a paper bone folder and a clean sheet of paper, and I'm burnishing each strip so that they're nice and flat and shiny, and I'm going to do that with each one. So once you've done that, you will have a nice stack of tinfoil strips ready to make into beads. And there's mine. Before you turn these into beads, you need to take some double-sided tape, like this, chop up some pieces just under an inch long, or just over, just under, it doesn't really matter, and stick one piece on the back of each strip, and do that to all of your strips. Now here's a tool that I have designed, and I manufacture these myself. If you're interested in buying one, get in touch with me. And you're simply going to very tightly roll each strip up, and when you get to the end, obviously because of the double-sided tape, it's going to stick nicely down because this card is quite springy. And slide your bead off. Now we have a ridge there, obviously, from where we finished rolling the card, and this is where the tiny offcuts come in handy, the ones that we stuck back down on the wax backing. You're simply going to take a small piece from your offcuts and seal over the ridge at the end where you finish rolling. It just finishes the beads off nicely, so you can't see that end there, that ridge. Just snip the ends off and seal down any excess you have. I've rolled all of mine, and the next thing that you'll see me do is burnish the ends, and I'm using this glass tray which is a bit bumpy, so it's quite good for burnishing the ends of the beads. It just makes them smooth, and you can see here the one on the right is a bit smoother than the one on the left. So do that with both ends of each bead till you're happy that they're nice and smooth. If the bead loses its shape, don't worry, because you can just take a paintbrush and you just push the bead onto the paintbrush till it gets to the fattest part. Just twizzle the stick round. It doesn't really matter because we are not going to be keeping them round anyway. Now the next thing that you'll see me do here is coat every bead with this glossy accents sealer, because I don't like the thought of wearing tinfoil next to my skin. So I give each bead 2 or 3 coats to make sure that when I wear these, when I wear the bracelet on my wrist, the tinfoil's not in direct contact with my skin. It may not matter, but I just don't like the thought of having tinfoil right next to my skin. So there's mine. I've put them on toothpicks on a piece of Oasis that's used in floristry to dry overnight, or for a couple of hours, or however long it takes for your glaze to dry. The beads are going to end up flat, as you can see here. Now, we obviously can't make them flat until we threaded them, otherwise we won't be able to get the thread through. I'll show you in a moment how I make mine flat. So I've got some stretchy silver cord here. I'm not sure where I got it from, but I will try and source some and leave a link on my blog. I've got tons of stuff in my craft room. I never know where any of it came from. So just thread your first bead on to the centre of the thread. Now I have this rubber hammer here which is really useful, and I'm bashing that down to flatten the bead. Obviously I don't want to bash too hard on this glass tray, so I stopped the camera and I took the bead into the kitchen and gave it a good old bashing on the kitchen counter, so you can see it's really flat. And then do the same thing with the next one. So you go in one end of the bead and then take the other end of the thread and push it through the opposite way and pull them through like so, and then bash that one down. And again I finished this off on the kitchen counter where I could give it a good hammering. And that's what they look like when you've hammered them really flat. So carry on and do that with all the beads you need. There's mine. I have enough beads on mine now to actually finish off the threading. And how I do that is I take the thread from the top of the last bead that I threaded and I push it down through the top of the first bead. Now I'm using a skewer here to open up the bead so that I can get the thread through, and then obviously I'm going to have to bash that with the hammer again to make it flat. So that's all you do. You just push the thread through the top, and then tie off the threads to complete your circle. And then you're ready to decorate. The most exciting bit. When you've tied this knot, you can just push the knot down inside the nearest bead. It's only a tiny knot anyway. I got some lovely embellishments. I think I got these ones from the range in the UK. So I've chosen to use the little gold hearts and some gold lettering. The hearts are just these craft stickers, and the lettering is from the Anita's range. And all I did was stick these teeny little hearts down, and I've found that the adhesive is actually good enough to keep them. I haven't had any fall off, and I wouldn't wear these bracelets every day. They're for special occasions, of course, but I haven't had any problems with mine falling off. But if you want to use extra glue, then go ahead. See how pretty they look? And then the next thing I did was to add gold lettering, LOVE. And again, I haven't had any of these come off. So you can see how simple it is to make a faux silver bracelet, and it actually does feel quite cold and hard, like metal. It's amazing to think that it's actually made of card and a bit of tin foil tape. So thank you for watching. I hope you have fun making your own faux silver bracelet, and come and visit me again soon for more craft videos from funcraftstodo@home.com. Bye.